Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with the latest 2 million credits. We've decided to do it this week because it is actually a really fun combination in the Aston Martin at Interlagos. Combinations like this really do make me enjoy Gran Turismo. I have to say, this is what I would like to see, some cars like this being used in daily races. Some of these cars that don't really get used, it's great to see these cars being used, and I would love to see these being used in like a daily A or a daily B with these racing soft tyres as well, because this is a lot of fun. Now, if you want to earn 2 million credits, I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to go through a guide and go through everything there. So do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It all helps me out on the channel. So very grateful to everyone that does that. So let's go into this. We're going to go into sport mode in the top right hand corner. From there, you'll be greeted with the online time trials. Click on that and you will be looking at the one right in the middle there at Interlagos in the Aston Martin Vulcan. Really fun car to drive. So I definitely recommend you give this a go. You'll enjoy it. So clicking in there, you can see I managed to get to P1 in the world. However, that I know that had already been beaten by the time I've done this video by Damien. And to be honest, I think it will get just demolished because I had a lot more potential myself in this. That's why I'm predicting the gold will be at least a 28.3. I personally think you're going to need a 1:27 to secure the gold this week. So try and aim to get at least a 1:27.9, I think, to guarantee yourself getting that gold. But let's start this guy. Try and get a really good exit from that final corner. It'll really help, obviously, all the way down this straight, and obviously it's a bit of practice for your final corner when you come to doing your actual lap time. So let's go into turn one. We're going to actually use the 100 board as our brake reference. You can see it there in the top right hand corner. That's just the blurred bit of the 100 board, and we're on the brakes pretty much dead on that 100 board. Now we're going to go down to third gear and then trail brake down to, when we go down to second gear, we're going to trail brake into this corner. You want to get this left hand tyre right up onto the curb on the left, using that second gear to rotate it. You can see the trail braking going in, then up to third gear very early, and that will just enable a smoother exit off the curb. And then you're going to really attack the curb on the right hand side. So you can see again track limits, you can really abuse them here at Interlagos, getting right up on the curb. And you can see as we went over the curb, we lifted off the throttle slightly before putting it back on the throttle. And again, through this long left hand corner, you want to get your left hand tyre up onto the curb, upshift to fourth gear. That will help with the stability as you use that curb to rotate the car through the corner. It's really important to use that curb because it enables you to get on that throttle nice and early with that fourth gear and accelerate down into the next braking reference, which we're going to brake a little bit shy of the 100 board. So you can see the 100 board there, and you can see our braking inputs are just starting to go in now. That's because we're going to try and slow this car down with just third gear. We're not going to go into second gear because second gear can unsettle the car. So I prefer to stay in third gear to keep a stable approach to this corner. And you can see it just keeps it nice and smooth. Left hand side just skimming the curb. And then onto the throttle as early as you can. You want to use the curb on the right hand side as you power out of that corner and then into the next braking zone. Now I lose a little bit of time here. You can see I'm over a tenth up on my Delta. And you can see as I hit the brakes here, my left-hand tyre is slightly on the Astro, and I didn't realise. And it's going to unsettle the car as we go in. You can see it starts drifting in. Do manage to catch it, and we do manage to stay up on my Delta there. But we've lost a tenth by the time we come out the corner. You can see here now, we're a tenth down on what I was going into the corner. So a tenth gone there. So I know there's an extra tenth to find just by getting that corner correct. And now we're going to go into this next right hand corner. You can see as soon as we're onto the curb, we're onto the brakes pretty much. As soon as that car has gone wide onto the curb, onto the brakes nice and early. Rotate it and use first gear for a bit of rotation, then straight back up to second gear as you put the power down. Important to get these gear shifts right with this car, especially second to third gear. Really important shift that will gain you time. Now you can see again on the brakes before the start of the curb on the left there. Again, using the curb to rotate the car, and then we're going to feed that second gear in with the throttle. You can see gradually feeding it in with 50, 60, 70% throttle, and then timing that third gear shift is so important for your lap time here from second to third. Again, braking nice and early way before the curb on the right. You can actually see that little bit of tarmac on the right hand side, pretty much braking in the middle of the gap between the curbs. Again, from this angle, you're really trying to widen that line in. You can see there we're going to use first gear for rotation. Now we're going to go up to second gear just as we put the throttle down there. And again, putting that throttle down gradually, not just instantly. You've got to feed that throttle in, and then that important shift up to third there. And again, be very cautious through this corner. Your left-hand tyre just wants to touch this white line. You don't want to be onto the curb. If you get onto that curb, you're going to spin the car and lose a lot of time. So try and just use that white line as a reference. Powering out in fourth gear to keep it nice and stable. And we're going to brake just past the end of the curb on the right-hand side. Always use this curb as a reference for my braking points. And you can see we're just on the brakes, just a fraction past that, way before the 50 board. And now we're going to go down to second gear in a straight line. And from this angle, we're going to try and rotate it in and get that left-hand tyre to just skim the curb as we go through the corner. You can see there, we're going to start putting the throttle in before we get to the curb, and now you can see that 60-70% throttle, and then aggressively on the throttle, and then an early upshift to third just to stop it wheel spinning too much. You have to be careful on this exit. You can wheel spin this car if you're too aggressive, and you can see we get a pretty solid exit off that corner. Not too bad. Not the best exit I've got though. And we go over the line for a 1 minute 26.231, which I think I can get. I think we can get a 25.9 on this time trial if I just get a couple of these corners right without putting too much time in. But yeah, this lap was good enough for the track guide. We're going to show you it now from the chase camera with kilometers now on, and you're going to see that mistake a little bit more evident from this angle here where we get that left hand tire just onto the Astro and it unsettles it going into the corner. But first sector was pretty strong. Could have been a little bit more over the curb on that corner, which would have enabled me to possibly get my throttle a little bit earlier and carry a bit more speed through the exit. But this is the corner with the main mistake in it. You can see left-hand tire, you can just see it there, crept just ever so slightly onto the Astro, and that just unsettled the car, got me line completely wrong. And then you can see we're just fighting back to get it back under control. Even up to this point now, we've kind of recovered it by this point, and now onto that throttle again there. You can see really important to get that third gear shift on the exit. Ran a little bit wide there, trying to put too much power down, using that first gear for rotation. Really good. This car's really good to use the gear shift for rotation. Just make sure when you put your throttle down, you're not in them really early gears, because it will spin up the rears. Again, this final corner is probably the most important corner on this track to get right, because if you get that throttle right on the exit there and the shift into third gear, you will gain a lot of time. You can literally gain 3 tenths through a bad and a good exit off that corner. So keep practicing that final corner, and hopefully you'll get them 2 million credits. Let me know in the description, in the comments, if you've managed to get the gold, if you enjoyed this time trial. I thoroughly enjoyed this one this week, and I hope you did as well. Take care, everyone.